All right, welcome to another episode of the Simple Marketing Podcast. My name is Mustafa Hosseini, and I'm today here with my friend Junaid Ahmed. Welcome, Junaid.
Hey Mustafa, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited. So excited.
Likewise, likewise. So let me do the proper introduction here for the show, and we're going to dive into a very interesting conversation about making a stellar first impression on video. In this episode, you will discover why planning your video shoot matters, tips for budget friendly filming and production, using AI to boost your video production, and understanding video content creation. This is a topic near and dear to me, and you're going to learn quite a bit. Let me do the proper introduction to my friend Junaid, and we're going to dive into the conversation. So, Junaid Ahmed is the founder of Humble Zone and creator of Home Studio Mastery, designed to teach you how to build your home studio. He has 2 decades of video production experience, as well as designing websites and app focused on a systematic process and seamless user experience. He provides podcasters, speakers, and content creators a comprehensive plan for their studio equipment, lighting, and layout. He also enables video creators to create effortless content in a comfortable and impressive home studio setting. He is the author of Master iPhone Video Production and host of Hacks and Hobbies podcast. He also speaks at national events such as Podfest and other virtual summits. Junaid, welcome.
Mustafa, thank you so much for having me. I can't thank you enough for giving me the opportunity to come speak with your audience.
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen your activity on social media for such a long time. You're a professional, you're a pro. And so the story, gang, if you're watching or listening, is that a few weeks ago, I reached out to Junaid and I said, Junaid, I'd love to have you on my show. We've been connected and we never had a conversation. So here we are today. And so I look forward to this. How's your day so far, my friend?
It's been great. I just recorded 3 podcast episodes. Today is my podcast day, so I'm ready to go any given notice. And what's cool is because I was the host on that show, I got to listen to my guests. Got to listen to them speak about their stories and their journeys and the hacks that they share on the podcast. So I get to be the guest today. So I'm super excited for that
We're
also.
turning the tables. Where about are you?
So I'm in Herndon, Virginia, in the east coast of the U.S. And I was not
Fantastic.
always here. I actually grew up in Southern California, where most of
Southern
my family
California.
also lives. Yeah.
Is it quite a bit different in terms of geography and temperatures and whatnot?
Yes, it's on the other side of the country, like
Hmm.
West Coast, Southern California, East Coast, Virginia.
Hmm.
Temperatures, we have a lot more seasons here in Virginia. We have the fall weather, we have summer, we have winter, we have snow sometimes.
Yeah.
We didn't have two of those weathers in
Yeah.
California. It was
California
all
is the
sunny.
spring and summer, right?
Yeah, spring and summer.
Pretty
That's it.
much. Fantastic. So, Junaid, tell us what is your story?
I come from a simple background of a little kid who's excited about technology. So I was the kid who opened up toys and looked what's happening on the inside. I would then put those toys back together. Sometimes that wouldn't work, but most of the times it definitely did. So growing up in Saudi Arabia, then in California, then I just kept going in the direction of what I was passionate about, what I love to do, and I kept up with these hobbies, photography, filmmaking, and just kept pulling the thread. The one thing led to another, and having this technology background, I was able to help people in different areas like building computers or building a website or building a marketing material. I mean, all sorts of things. And as I did this, I started seeing patterns and started seeing what really lit me up versus what was not as fun. And it wasn't it was actually 3 years ago. that somebody said, "Hey, you should be teaching people how to set up their studios," because they saw what I did for my own setup. Now, uh, granted, it took me a while to get my setup up and going, but I do bring, 10 years of video production experience where we were shooting content for other people, staging the shot, staging the cameras, and bringing all those things together to tell a story, to, again, be able to marketable content for them. So that's a little bit in a nutshell of where I come from. I've, created content on phones, on film cameras, on all sorts of things, and it's the ability to be able to tell the story and an ability to be able to touch the hearts that really inspired me and pulled me into marketing.
Love it. And so what do you do these days and who do you serve?
So these days, I am not only am I running my own podcast called Hacks and Hobbies, I'm also serving the podcasting and entrepreneurship community in making sure that they look good and they sound good on camera, because that is the currency, that is the attention where they're going to grab uh, new clients and new people as we are consumers of technology. I mean, if you look at some of the stats, 82% of the internet traffic is video, with most of it going to YouTube. It used to be Netflix a few years ago, but now the traffic is going to YouTube mainly because there's a lot more creators creating content on YouTube. I think there's about 50 million uh, channels on YouTube. And if you look at that in contrast to, in comparison with how many people there are in the world consuming this content, there's 4 billion hours of video being watched every single day on YouTube.
Mhm.
So I help those people look good and sound good. So when people scroll through those short reels and long videos, they actually spend a little bit longer time because they can hear the story better. They can watch a clear image. So that's what I help people do.
Love it. Love it. And I could tell from your settings how your lighting is perfect and you're looking really, really good. And hopefully
Yeah,
you
I
could
like to flex my muscles, right? The
oh,
camera
look at
muscles, and
that.
switch the camera angles on you too.
Wow.
Because as I teach this and as I consult on this, I want to make sure that I am able to show them what I'm actually talking about.
Hmm. So, what are the three main components of making videos for marketers? Let's dive into it.
Well, the three main components is story, story, and story. Because when you have a story down, in fact, just earlier, Caleb Wojcik, on a pro smart passive income network, he actually wrote a long article and he says gear does not matter for your video, because he's like, I've got $50,000 worth of gear in my closet, and none of that matters with the stories you tell. And then he shared four different links of videos that are over 800 million views. One of the videos is Charlie Bit Me. And if you probably know this viral video, there's two kids, little kids sitting on the rocking chair. The rear kid is, and then he's holding his younger brother in his lap, and then you know just just moments ago, Charlie, who's a younger kid, bit the finger of the kid behind. It's like, Charlie bit me. Like, oh really? And then he on purpose puts his other finger in Charlie's mouth, and Charlie really takes a good bite out of it. And he's like, whoa, that really hurt. And that video had 839 million views. Now, sure, it's a short 12 to 15-second video, maybe even 30 seconds, but it goes to show the content really doesn't matter, or sorry, the gear doesn't matter. It's the story that you tell.
Yeah.
Another popular video that you've probably seen it is the evolution of dance, and this was a comedian. He basically went on stage and there's music playing of the evolution from the 50s all the way to the 90s, and he does, and these music pieces are playing for at least I think 30 seconds to 60 seconds, and he's doing these different dances as the music changes. And that video alone has almost a billion views. So again, it all comes down to, and that video quality is really horrible. It's shot on a VHS or something. But if you have a good story, if you have something that's worth listening to, people are going to stay and they're going to watch and they're going to pay attention to what you have to say. So, on the short, that's what really matters. The gear, we have some of the best gear in our hands already. The smartphone that we play uh, Candy Crush and Royal Match on has one of the best cameras on the
Hmm.
planet that you can use to create your video content. So, you know, it all comes down to what is that message going to be? And like you mentioned, planning your shoot is really what all comes down to. How are you going to plan? What's going to be the message? And how are you going to put that whole messaging together so people
100%.
resonate with you?
I agree with you 100%. We are in the process of launching a meme coin in the next little while, and we've been working on this story attached to this persona that
Hmm.
we have coming up. And like you said, we've seen. Actually, I was checking. There was this meme videos on YouTube with millions and millions of views.
Mm.
And looking at it from a logical perspective, from marketing perspective, first my first impression, like, how on earth did this get millions or like billions of views and
Yeah.
whatnot?
Yeah.
But I guess we could dive more into that. And you mentioned the story, which is that's all the big factor in there, I guess.
Hmm.
Tell us more. Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. My sons whom I inspired to start their own YouTube channels just a few months ago. He was talking about how he's making these short meme videos, and I'm like, this is cringe type of content. And he's like, Dad, I'm getting 1,200 views. I'm getting 2,000 views on these shorts because
Hmm.
it's meme related. I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. I'm learning from my kid.
Isn't that something? I think if I get my 4-year-old to record videos and post on YouTube, he will get probably way more views than
A
I
lot
do
more
on my
views for
show.
sure.
100%. It's probably more entertaining for these guys to watch.
Yes.
A kid running around playing. As you were saying, I was just thinking, I was like, have you seen these like channels where there's a mom following the kids around and she just uploads the content, and then there's like,
No, I have not seen that.
oh God, there's quite a few.
Wow.
There's a mom walking around filming the kids on Instagram or YouTube, and that's all she does. Oh my God, my kid is having a candy. Ha ha ha. That's so much fun. Oh, now he's playing with his Lego. Ha ha ha. And the kid is
Hilarious.
yelling, screaming into just they're just filming and documenting their
They're just
day to day.
watching the life. People
And
love
there
watching
is
life.
like thousands and millions of people following. And I'm like, here in my mind, I'm trying to create some logical, amazing how to
Rationality behind it, right?
rationality thing. And this guy's like, there was this channel. I don't want to steal the show on your time, but there
No,
was
no,
this
you're good.
channel that was shredding soaps on video on YouTube, and there is thousands and thousands of people watching this guy shredding soap, different
Yeah.
colors of soap in there. I'm like, why didn't I think of
You
that,
need to
right?
shred some soap and then
So
put some electronics on a blender. So I don't know if you
exactly.
saw the videos of Blendtec.
Hmm.
Blendtec, the blender company. I own a Blendtec myself because I watched these videos way back where he would just put a broomstick in there, turn the blender on, and the broomstick is just getting shredded. They even put an iPhone, I think it was an
They did.
iPhone 3G or something back in the days, into the machine and it completely obliterated it. I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
this is a thing. This is something I need to own. So now I own a Blendtec and we've done about 1,600 runs on it already.
absolutely. So tell us about more about stories and how they should be incorporated in your videos.
You want to start with the answer first, right? So as you, I mean, I'm no expert in telling stories and how to craft these videos. I think Pat Flynn has done an amazing job with his Deep Deep Pocket Dragon YouTube channel. I think he's hitting a million subscribers on there already. He's done an amazing job on that, and it all comes down to who's your target audience, what type of stories do they resonate with, and in those stories, are you grabbing their attention in that first sentence, and then you're then in the rest of the video you're explaining how that actually works. And to give you an example, I recently watched a 30-minute long Marion Golden video, which started with, it's easier to make $1 million in 1 month than it is in 1 year. And I'm not hooked. I'm like, wait, what? How is that even possible? So then he continues to teach on how it's possible, and it's a law of physics. It's a law of, you just got to put more energy into this, and which level do you fall in. So think of the things that keep you hooked into a story. How, if you're watching a movie, those movies have trailers on. Those trailers are basically giving a little glimpse of what you're gonna get in that trailer or in that movie, and then you're basically hooked into watching this trailer for 2.5 minutes, and now you're like, oh my god, I can't wait to watch this movie. It's gonna be so badass, and then you go and watch the 2.5 hour long movie because they got you hooked. So there's a formula that Alex Hermosi talks about. You're basically giving them a something, and then you're giving them an answer, and then you're giving them something again. And I wish I remembered what that formula pieces are, but it's basically what keeps your attention going when you start into that thread.
You know what's funny? I saw Alex Hormozy trending on Twitter yesterday, of all people, and I was like, "Wow, that is definitely something interesting." I never seen him trending on Twitter before. Maybe he was, but yesterday was the first time I saw him trending on Twitter,
Yeah,
which was
and the reason why he's trending on Twitter right now is because he's actually relaunching something brand new.
right now.
Yes. So
What is he
he
launching?
he purchased
School? Is that what
school.com.
he's doing?
So he
Yeah,
purchased
yeah.
school.com, and now he's launching the school games, which is basically, a marketing campaign that's going to bring him even more clients into purchasing the school platform.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's a smart
And he
cookie.
knows how
I
to do
read
that.
his I read his offer book 2 years ago today, and I just Facebook just sent me a reminder, one of those memory posts,
Yeah.
as I shared his book. It's like, this is an amazing book.
Yeah.
If you haven't read your his $100 million offer book, it is an amazing book.
It is.
Um,
I read the first book, and I'm working on the second book.
how's the second book?
Second book is really good. He talks about
Lead gen, right?
the lead gen. Yeah, he talks about where are leads? They're literally on your phone. All the contacts that you have in your phone, they're literally warm leads because they know you, and you can call them and ask them like, "Hey, do you know anybody that can use my services? You know who I am."
Oh, 100%. So
Hmm.
that's the entirety of my business, brother.
I love it.
Uh, I
I love
run
it.
a call center specializing in follow-ups and customer retention. So the problem we solve is that, and this is a shameless plug here,
Yeah.
the problem we solve is that, you know how businesses have a ton of customers and leads and they never follow up.
Hmm.
Just like you said, we have contacts in our business and we work hard to get leads and customers, but we never follow up.
We don't
So
follow
we're
up
like,
with those.
we know you're not going to follow up, even if we come in and teach you and show you how to do it. So
We do
why
it
don't
for
you
you.
give us the contacts and we'll call them on your behalf and book you appointments and get
Yes.
referrals and do a whole bunch of things. So yeah, I that's the most the most profitable, highest converting marketing activity, period.
That's
Just call
amazing.
people on your list, right? So
Yes.
enough about me. How do you mix your own creativity and your content with your marketing goals in creating videos?
That's a really great question. And what I've found, that's, I don't even know if it's working for me or not, right? But what I find, what I do is I share a little bit about my story, I share little bit about my life, what I do with my kids, my different hobbies, my different hacks on my social media. and then I talk about me being guest on podcasts or me being, you know, speaking at an event or at a summit, and people are like, "Wow, you're talking on this summit, and you are a genuine person." So I'm just using my personality as a brand to, push the people into the right direction. And I'm working on a piece of where I don't have I don't talk about a lot about the different offers that I have. So maybe that needs to be integrated somehow. So again, it's a work in progress, and it's an ongoing struggle that we all entrepreneurs face.
So basically, by sharing your content and who you are and your story and your values and your family, you're just establishing that the fact that you're more human and connecting with people that way.
Yeah,
So it's not just like I'm awesome, my product is awesome, buy my shit. You know.
yeah. Because if you think about it, and this is something that Gary Vaynerchuk talked about. He said you don't see big brands that are selling soda products or food products. You don't see their Instagram filled with their food products. No, they're telling stories. They're entertaining you with so many different ways. And if you think about it, Red Bull has an entire entertainment and um, sports division. They focus on the sports. They focus on those stories. They focus on building brand new things and experiences. And people are like, "Oh my god, if I drink Red Bull, it's gonna give me wings, and I can drive that fast car, or I can drive that motorcycle, and I can jump out of the plane." All sorts of fun things, and they also partner up with, like for example, they partnered up with Tom Cruise, where Tom Cruise came and he drove one of the Formula One cars in a racetrack. This was, I think, a few years ago. But again, they're also partnering and collaborating with people who have a clout, and they're basically just entertaining. So if brands were just telling stories and entertaining their clients, their customers, more and more people would want to consume the product and enjoy the feeling that it brings.
Love it. Yeah, there was also a video about branding from Hormozy on his channel yesterday, or the day before, that I've been wanting to watch
Hmm.
because he's been doing pretty well with his branding. And
Yes.
branding and storytelling and video, these three pieces I think work really well hand in hand
Yeah.
to reach out to people, share your story, build your brand, establish yourself as a human, connect with people on their pains and issues and challenges that they have, fix their problems. And as you can tell, I'm a huge fan of video marketing,
Hmm.
and being on video. Uh, hence we're here, because to me, and you tell me what's your perspective on video and why you got engaged with video. But for me, with video, I could see people, I could
Hmm.
communicate better. They could see me, they could see my body language,
Yeah.
other than hearing my tone and my voice. But
Hmm.
then there's my body language. I could communicate better. Like I like to, even with podcast, when I'm talking like to someone like yourself,
Hmm.
I like to see my guest instead of just audio talking. What's
Yeah.
your perspective on that?
No, I totally agree. And even if you're not publishing the video part of your podcast audio, you want to be able to see the reaction. You want to be able to see the the facial twitches and the different things that the host or the guest is doing. So you're getting those visual cues. And I want to say hi to Philip. He's putting a video fire emoji on there. But it's so cool when you see each other, because the fact of the matter is our brains cannot differentiate if we met in person or we met through a technology. Our brains cannot differentiate that. So because we have conversation with people through text or audio or through video, our brain doesn't know if we met in person or not. They
Hmm.
think that we know. And that's why there's a concept of there's a concept where when you see an actor in person, you kind of freeze, because you feel like you've known the person you've seen in so many in them in so many different movies. You
Oh,
feel like you know them already because your brain doesn't differentiate if you talk to them or you met them in person. And that's why there's a rule of, you meet somebody in four different platforms, you've consumed 7 hours of video or 7 hours of audio from them, and you've interacted with them in 11 different places. You've already built that know, like, and trust factor.
got it. Yeah, I've read a study years ago that visualizing something and actually experiencing it is the same effect, and our brain
Hmm.
cannot tell the difference.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. And so, what? How could people, when people are getting started or they want to produce video, and I think these days most people are working from home, even
Yeah.
working with a company. How can, let's say that people, I think most people watching this are small business owners working from home from their computer. How
Hmm.
can they make great videos on a budget from home?
Well, first of all, you want to make sure that you have lighting down. If you don't have a nice big window that you can use and you'll watch, if you've consumed content on TikTok or Instagram or Reels, you'll notice a lot of people are standing in front of windows because windows give you a nice even light. And if you have sun coming in, you can just throw a bed sheet, a white bed sheet on it, or get some kind of curtains to diffuse that light and get that even lighting. And you'll see not a lot of people doing that. So already we have the smartest devices in our hands. So start using your phone, start talking to it like you're talking to a person. We already do that when we're doing FaceTime. Kids do that all the time when they're doing FaceTime with their grandparents and whatnot. So start having a conversation with your phone as if you're talking to a friend and you're solving their problem. Those videos are the most valuable ones because there's people on the other side that want that solution that you've already gone through and you've gone through. So get comfortable with with the camera, get comfortable with the phone, because that's going to help you uh, build your muscle of talking to the camera. It's going to build your
Mhm.
muscle to get better at telling those stories.
Absolutely. So let's talk about getting comfortable with the camera, because I think a lot of people are scared, and that I know a lot of people would rather die
Hmm.
than getting on camera. How do we get over the fear of being on camera?
Well, the first thing you want to do is start working. Put a let's say you basically just start recording video, and you don't even have to post it. You don't need to go live. You just need to be able to record and see what you look like, because then you can make you can make changes, you can make adjustments, and then as you go. So do that for 30 days straight. Every single day, pick a topic that you want to talk about and then just record it. And
Mhm.
you might not get it right the first time, then try again. Just do it multiple times. And the more you do it, the easier it'll become for you to do it. And then
Yeah.
you won't even care what you're wearing. You just like, hey, today is blah, blah, blah. We're going to talk about this. And you just go down the line of what you're going to talk about. Now, to make it even easier, you can use AI to help you with scripting, to help you with coming up with solid ideas. And hey, what is my customer thinking about? I want to step into their shoes when I create this content. I want to
Mhm.
take, I want to talk it from, I want to talk from their perspective. And then so that's where AI comes in, and that's where they can help you, write scripts or even give you bullet points. Okay, talk about this thing and go deeper into this area. And then when you create that content and you post that content, people are going to resonate, and you're like, oh wow, they're actually liking it. And that's what starts building your confidence, because when people like the stuff that you're posting, like, oh, I guess I'm not too bad with this stuff. And then you get more confidence, you just keep going, uh, doing it better over time.
100%. I've seen I'm a huge fan of doing video, and I've been pushing in my marketing world and teaching marketing and whatnot to push people to post video online. And one of the things that I see people, one of the concerns that they have is, like, first when they create a video, and they're like, "Oh my god, I sound horrible
Hmm.
or I look horrible." And then I'm like, "Dude, that's how you look. That's how you sound."
That's how we see you all the time.
Yes, people
We're
are
just
seeing
faking it
that
ourselves.
and listening and hear that all day long for
Yeah,
10, 20, 30, 50, 60 years.
yeah,
So it might be news to you, but that's how exactly how you
yeah,
how you look.
yeah.
Get over it. And then like you said, there's that repetition of years. The first few times you might want to try it and get better. Like we have maybe this weird things that we do, lip movement and body
Hmm.
language and weird things that we do. You could iron it out and over time you get better.
Yeah.
But and people are like, what if people see it? And I'm like, they see you all day
They
long,
see you
bro.
all the time already.
That's what they see all day long. It's
Yeah,
not like
yeah.
uh you
That's
haven't
who
been
you are.
hidden.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then it's like just get it out there. And the fact of the matter is nobody cares. We think
Nobody.
like like even I'm pretty out there. Like I could talk in front of people in a room in a crowd.
Hmm.
But the first time that I ran a webinar and I aired it on Facebook, I was scared.
Yeah.
And you know what happened? Nothing.
Nothing happened.
Nobody cares that I have a bad, crappy little webinar on Facebook. It just nothing happened. But then
Yeah.
as I did it more and more, I got better at it. And now I just come live, sometimes without even prep. And
Hmm.
I just wing it because I've done
Yeah.
it. By the way, gang, if you're watching or listening, this is our 151st episode.
Woohoo!
I was supposed
151.
to Yeah, this is kind of a milestone. I was supposed to celebrate on our last episode, but I totally forgot, and I was gonna celebrate in the beginning of this episode, which I totally forgot. So, give me a happy 151st episode if you're watching or listening, and by the way, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback about the topic of making your first impression on video or about setting up your home studio, put it in comment, and I'm sure Junaid would be happy to address your questions. So
Absolutely.
another thing that I forgot is let's talk about my lighting right now and how horrible it is, and how I can improve it and make it better.
Sure. Well, you've got some highlights coming in, and from one side more than
Yes,
the other, which is probably telling me maybe you're in front of a window, maybe you have a light source set up.
is that it?
You are also using a virtual background, so I'm not sure,
I am.
what the background looks like to give you some more tips. But again, having a the other thing that I noticed is there's a lot of red in the shot, or you in your image. You're probably not as red as the camera tells you or camera shows you. That's something that you can adjust inside your camera software, where hey, make me look more um, not as
Not
red.
red.
Not red. Yeah.
Let me see if I could go fix the window thing right away.
Okay. Let's see.
Like, give me 1 second. Let's see if we could fix this up. All right, give me a sec. And then all right, so that might look a little darker, but let me see what I could do to fix that up. So I've got this guy here, and then I could bring this guy over here to get some more white on my face. Still too dark.
It's still a little dark. Um,
So I have a big light in front of me. I turned that off because that was obviously making
oh, you so
too much.
you turned off the light.
I turned off the light because it's a yellow light right in
Okay.
front of me. Maybe I should turn it back on, but
Is that a ceiling light?
it is.
Overhead. Okay.
How can I fix that? I need to
Well,
diffuse that, right?
one thing you can do is you can diffuse that light, and then you can also replace it with a um, daylight white light. So you'll notice that my setup is have more bluish look, is because the outside sunlight is more bluer than it is yellower, Now in the US, we have all these yellow lights in the homes because it's easier on the eye. It's easy for you to fall asleep. But it's not good for camera because you look a lot more yellow. If I were to show you what my light setup looks like, I've got a big light in front of me
Oh yeah.
with diffusion and a grid, so then it's really focused on me. Then I have another light source on this side that lights me up on this side.
Very interesting. Um, I was just thinking as we were starting this conversation to go actually invest in one of those um what you might call it, the lights, what do you call, what's the name of those lights that you got in front
Yeah,
of you?
like a box light or an LED light panel with grids and whatnot.
Jeanette, would you happen to have a checklist for a home studio?
I do have a checklist that I'm working on that people can download. It's not ready yet, but if you follow that link through on the Three Dimensions book, actually that book has a lot of the things that all around home studio checklist, what you need in your room.
Speaking of which, since we brought it up, let's talk about your gift here, the 3 dimensions of video mastery that you're giving away.
Yeah, so the Three Dimensions of Video Mastery actually came up from a thought that I had how you can technically create 365 days of content in just a couple of days if you have a few things in place. And the number one thing is, hey, do you have camera and lights and audio in place so you can record for an entire day without having to worry about it? Number
Hmm.
two, the first dimension is having the studio set up in a way that can enable you to record content. The second thing is having all of the systems in place. For example, software for editing video, software for editing audio, software to cut up those video pieces. And then the third thing is to be able to promote and schedule all of the content out so that it can go out to the world. And I talk about a little bit of AI software, AI tools that you can use to create those scripts so that you can record all of these content and be on point, with your target audience and the target content that you want to deliver and bring in front of the people that might be thinking about you but they're not top of mind.
How's my lighting now? Better?
It's a lot better. It looks like you're using like a computer, your
Yeah.
computer
uh,
screen to bring some
To
bright
light this
lights.
up. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this better?
It's a lot better, and we can definitely add another light that's higher above because that's so you have a more even lighting. Because right now it's still lighting on either side, right?
Yes, it is. Well, the window is right there, and I
Okay,
couldn't.
okay,
I couldn't. So I tried to block it off, but I think I need to figure out something to diffuse that light, like put some
yeah.
sort of screen in front of it so
So
it's
you can have a
diffused.
screen. You can even put curtains so you're completely blocking that window, or you can have like a sheer curtain that can also bring in some light through. The only thing is your look or your setup is going to be different at different times of the day, right? When you have a setup where you can completely control all of the lights, for example, I like to do this demo if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
So when I come into my space, I just have these overhead lights that turn on, right?
Okay.
So when I come in, I was like, okay, um, time to go to work. So I have a smart thing set up over here, which tells me to turn on. I basically tell Siri, "Hey Siri, studio time," and it
Oh,
basically
wow.
turns on the five different lights that I need on for my setup.
So
So
you've automated this whole thing through
I've automated
Siri.
the thing because I don't want to, I don't want to waste time, additional time in doing this. So I'm going to show you one light at a time. So here's my key light. It just focuses on me. Then, and if I were to switch the camera, you'll see I only have this light on, and of course my bright monitors. And then I add a fill light, which is then adds another light from this corner so that you can see more of me. Before, if I
Yeah.
turn this off, you just see the main light light up. So again, fill light to do that. Then I added a hair light. One of my clients said, it's like the glow light. It glows you up. It's separating you from the background. And then I added some color lights to my bookshelf back here to again further separate me from the whole look and feel.
Hmm. How do you get that the purple shade in the background?
So the
Is that
purple,
another purple light?
it's a mix of blue and red. So when blue and red mix, you get the purple.
Oh, so you have a little screen in front of you. You could mix it up and change it on the go?
No, because I have two different light sources. One is blue, the other one is red. So purple is the automatic clash between the two, red
It's
and
beautiful. I love it.
thanks.
I love it. So, sorry, that sounded totally disrespecting as you were talking about your gift and I just talked about my lighting.
No, no, you're
Um,
you're totally fine.
but so gang, go ahead and get the 3 dimensions of video mastery, download it and get access to it. As you could see, Junaid's setting, and as a guy who's been around the podcasting world and the video world and the marketing world for a while, long enough to look at someone's video to say this guy knows what he's doing. I think you should um, get access to his resource, and it's a free resource, and you get access to that. Love
Absolutely.
it. So a couple of things that I have on my list. I think I should probably just put a curtain in front of this window so I could open it and close it when I want. The thing is, I want to look outside
Of
and I
course.
want to see the sunlight
Yeah.
because I have tried blocking it totally off for this exact purpose,
Hmm.
but then I feel trapped. I feel like I need to see outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to put some curtain in front of it so that that problem gets solved. And I'm gonna get so you said a daylight light.
So when you go to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, look for the daylight. So there's soft white, there's white, and then there's daylight.
Okay.
Daylight has all of the spectrum of the white, and that makes it look much better.
Is that more whitish,
It's more bluish, yeah.
more bluish?
Yeah, so it's 5600 Kelvin as opposed to 3200 Kelvin, which is more yellow.
I'm gonna go to uh I'll find it out today or tomorrow. So for my next show, I'll make a promise. So what I did right now, gang, and Junaid noticed this right away. I turned the background of my monitor. I have 3 massive monitors in front of me. I just turned the background to white, so it glows more light into my face right now. To hopefully, and it did get a little bit. It got rid of that reddish. Seems like to me, and
It
you could
did
tell me
get rid
more.
of a little bit of reddish, yeah.
Yeah, and it more even, but not enough.
Not enough, yeah. We'll get there, right? It's a journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, um, tell us about. So we dived into equipment. Tell us more about equipment and what we need to have in place to
So I
for
mentioned how lighting is free through using the window. The first investment that you're going to make and that I would recommend you make is into a nice microphone, because when people hear you, don't make sure that they're getting the best experience possible. Now, with podcasting is very intimate. You're either listening it to in your headphones, or in your car, or in your kitchen, and you want to make sure that you can pay attention and listen to all of the intonations in our audio, the inflections, because when you do that, you're building that connection with that listener.
hmm
They know you now, they like you. And what's cool is I was at this event, a dinner party a few months ago, and this gentleman, as I'm talking to some other people, this gentleman leans back and he's like, "Is that you, Junaid?" I'm like, "Yes, it is." He's like, "Were you in the Zoom call the other day?" I'm like, "Yes, I was." He's like, "Dude, I recognize you from your voice." Now, this is probably the third time that I met him in person, or maybe the first time, and he was able to recognize me because he heard my voice. It's because I'm using a good microphone. I have good audio treatment in the room. So again, voice is the number one thing that we want to focus on. So if you can't spend any money on anything at all, make sure you spend money on a good microphone so that people can hear you and
Yep.
find the best audio.
Do you have a preferred go-to type of microphone for?
Yes, so my
Almost.
go-to microphone is the Shure MV7. It is a USB microphone. It makes sure that it's the simplest one that you want to use. In fact, Shure just announced a brand new version. So the one that I'm using is from 2020, so almost 4 years old. And they just announced Shure MV7 Plus, which has a USB-C connector as opposed to the older USB or micro connector. So same microphone, around $250, and that's going to last you for the entirety of your career in video production.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's like a $239 investment, and you would
Hmm.
have it forever. I have a Blue Yeti microphone
Yeah.
that I bought it back in 2018,
Hmm.
and two, $300, and
Yeah.
it's still here, and it's good enough. Like it's a lifetime investment, I guess.
Yeah. So I've had the I have sorry, I have the Blue Yeti as well. And that's where I started with. But I started noticing that it was capturing a lot more audio than I wanted to. For example, when I have kids playing in the other room, I could hear in this setup. Like
Yeah.
I
Did
heard
you hear
your
my kid
kids.
right now?
I heard your kids when they coming in and going.
Yeah.
So because it is a condenser mic, it is designed for very special rooms where you're just there for that purpose. Whereas these microphones, the Shure MV7, the SM7B, the SM58, these microphones are dynamic microphones. They are a workhorse, meaning they are used in bands and on stages. So they
Mhm.
cancel out anything that's further away from the microphone. So as I move farther away from the microphone, you'll hear a lot less of me. And that's why this microphone is the one that I recommend because it's a
Mhm.
dynamic microphone. It's going to capture you the best the closer you are to it.
Oh yeah. So Shilpa, it is. I think it's a MV7 plus
Yes.
for sure.
Hala
And
Shilpa is here. Thanks, Shilpa, for watching.
yeah, she said she's been using Yeti. It says here, my last three guests share their here, their fans and noises. Oh yeah. Like I have my little 4-year-old running around screaming and yelling. He just
Yeah.
tried to come in. They were gonna pick up my 8-year-old from school.
Yeah.
He just busts in the door. Dad, I want this. I'm like,
Yes.
bro, I'm in the middle of a podcast.
Exact same thing happened about an hour ago for me too. My daughter came running crying because something happened with something. I'm like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. So I just hit mute on my stream deck so it doesn't go in the recording. But hey, that's what we gotta do as dads and as parents. It shows that we are real and we are actual people that care about what we are talking about.
Love it. Um, I think, and then you got to be ready and get used to improvising when things go wrong
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
One time during the show, my kid walked in, and then I just put him on my lap, and I'm like, "Gang, here's my kid."
Yeah.
And then I let him go because if I don't let him in, he will start screaming and try
And
to.
exactly. Yep. I'm in the same way.
I even put a lock on the door, and
Doesn't
then
work.
he learned to put a spoon in between and like to unlock the door, and he's only 4,
Yeah.
so
I love it.
kids and what they do, man. Um, what do we do with the video that we have, and how do we leverage that for different platforms?
So what do we do with the video that we have? And how
Yeah,
do
so
we
once we
leverage it?
create content, how do we use it and make more use of it and leverage it?
So there's a lot of cool tools now available that we didn't have a year ago, that we didn't have 2 years ago, right? There's something like Opus.clip. There's um, another one that I recently discovered that I can't remember the name of that will grab your YouTube link, drop your YouTube link in there, and they'll scrape the audio. They'll create a transcript and they run AI on it to say, okay, which, based on the topics that you provided, here's the thing that's going to resonate with the people that you're looking at, right? So again, short form is great to repurpose your long form video content because people want to find those little nuggets of information that you shared on Reels to
Hmm.
then come to your longer interview. It's almost like we're creating trailers for the big movie that we already shot.
Love it. Love it. So you have it, and you use short forms for like reels, which gets a lot more views on, especially on TikTok. What
Yes.
I've noticed is I post on YouTube and it gets, very small views, but I post the same thing with no followers on TikTok and it gets like 1,000 views.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. The reels
It
in short form really works.
it does, and the thing is, the platforms are pushing to those reels in short form. They're because they want to enable as many new content creators to get in front of as many people as possible to see who might you resonate with, right? And I love what Mark David Roberts said. Hey, Michael, short form, break down your content and repurpose. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, one of the things we do with our podcast right here is we post the long format as a big 10,000 word blog post on
Yeah.
our website, but nobody really feels like reading a 10,000 word blog. So we
Hmm.
try to chop it up and put it out there in smaller chunks.
Yeah.
And that's how people can consume it easier.
The,
All right.
the yeah, the cool part is because you have that long form blog post, it's great for SEO as well
Mm-hmm.
because we gotta serve two different audiences: the SEO, the crawlers, the web crawlers, the AI chats, and then you gotta also feed, bring in the authentic people that might be listening.
Love it. So, Jonai, give us a 30-second simple marketing strategy, something you could do in 10 minutes or less that would make a difference or get them some sort of results related to what you do.
Man, I don't know if I have a 30-second thing, but I'll try my best.
Look, the description is 30 seconds, but it takes 10 minutes or less to do it.
Sure. So to do something that might change somebody's mind is to speak from the heart, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of tools available. There's a lot of AI, and all it's doing is regurgitating whatever's already out there. But when you speak from your heart, when you speak your story and your experience, that's never been spoken before. That's all yours, and then you build on top of that. That's going to give you a lot more mileage than anything else. You can spend 10 hours on editing a video, but that 30-second heartfelt message that you recorded is going to give you more value than anything else.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And you could do the 30-second thing, like grab your phone as Junaid talked about, do a heartfelt message or whatever your reality is, save it, post it on social media. Boom. That you could do it in 5 minutes or less. That's not even that long. All right. So again, gang, if you're watching or listening, make sure you get the 3 dimensions of video mastery from Junaid. The link is in the comments of the show and into the descriptions of the show. Junaid, can we dive into some personal questions?
Sure.
All right. So I want to talk about something you've tried recently. The normal question is, what's something you've tried recently? But I've seen in your posts recently that you've done Hajj. Would you be open to talk about that in 30 seconds or less, how the experience was?
Of course. So I actually went for Umrah.
Uh-huh.
Hajj I did almost 17 years ago,
Good
but
for you.
the experience is very similar, right? Because you're going there for one purpose. You're basically not you're part of a crowd. You're individual in worshiping your God. And as you come to the realization, we're only here for one purpose alone, right? We're here to serve others. We're here to serve and pray to God, and that's it. That's the entire purpose. And what I realize is, no matter how many different pathways we take, it all comes back to the same thing. How are we helping each other in this world? And I noticed that a lot of people that come there for that purpose of worshiping, they forget that they're there with other people, and they'll shove and they'll try to grab as if it's a race, as if it's they're not going to get their chance. and which
Hmm.
is really sad because people come from a very limited mindset of, you know, who we are as human beings and what are we here to do. And one experience that I had that I haven't talked about very publicly was when we were coming back from Jeddah and we were waiting in the check-in area, the where you check in and put your luggage through. We were just sitting hanging out. We got there about 4 hours before, and all of a sudden there's this huge line. Like I was facing the other way. There's a huge line of people lined up before the gate, before the check-in space even opened. There's a huge line of people
Yeah.
lining up. Like, what is going on? I was supposed to go there first. We're here for 2 hours, and as soon as the time clicked, people started rushing in, and I was holding my 1-year-old son in my hand, and he's sleeping, and I get in the line. I'm like, hey, I've been waiting here for this long, and even though I get to the front of the line, they're pulling people from behind me and pushing them forward. And then the gatekeeper were like, not even paying attention. I'm like, dude, what is going on? Why are these people cutting in front of me? And then finally, my wife was like, this is it. I can't take this anymore." So we had a conversation. We like, dude, this is wrong. What are you doing? And I just couldn't believe, like, I'm having this conversation with this other gentleman who's also waiting in line, and he's like, yeah, I don't know. And he's like, didn't speak a word of English because he come from, and it just felt really, I just felt rubbed the wrong way because we're all here for the same reason. We're all just came back from Umrah. We all
Yeah.
came back from worshiping, and you don't have the slightest humanity in you to say, "Hey, go ahead, we can wait."
And your seat is there. It's not disappearing. Like, isn't that
So
interesting?
it was
Oh,
really sad. And then later on, I discovered that I was standing in the wrong line, and apparently they have this Umrah line, and they had it labeled differently. But regardless, they didn't have any communication to say, "Hey, if you're blah blah blah, you should go over here. If you're blah blah blah, you should go over here." Anyways,
yeah. I hope to do my. I haven't done Hajj yet, so I hope to do it soon.
inshallah, man.
I hope to do it sometime soon. Give
Yeah.
me two of your favorite books of all time. Some that's books that has made a big impact on you, or maybe books that you've recommended a lot.
One book is The Magic of Thinking Big, and then the other one is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
I have read Think and Grow Rich, but I haven't read The Magic of Thinking Big, and it's been recommended a few times.
Yeah.
Interesting. What's one advice that made a big impact on life or business?
Document your journey. And this was in the book by Gary Vaynerchuk in the book called This is Marketing. And I was struggling to launch my podcast for about 6 years
Wow.
until I read this book. And at the end of the book, he says, just document your journey. You don't have to have a story. And it just happened that I had just finished my beekeeping course. I was going to become a beekeeper, and I started documenting my beekeeping journey on my podcast, and the rest is history.
Love it. Junaid, is there anything that you wanted to mention or you should want to mention that we didn't talk about?
No, man, we've covered a lot of ground. We talked about video, we talked about gear, we talked about storytelling, we talked about a lot of things that make you think, where are we going, where are we coming from, what are we here for? So make sure that you help another person find and solve their problem, because maybe that's your problem as well. I recently worked with a friend, and he came on Zoom with his book plastered on the side, and it looked really flat. I was like, that looks like just an image. It needs to look more 3D, like a mock-up. And I went and found this template where I was then able to pull up in Photoshop, put his image there. Now that image that was flat now became and looked like an actual book that he has published. I used to have the book right here. And then he used that image, like, oh my God, Janaid, I don't know how to thank you. This is like mind blowing. So again, solve a problem for somebody else because you might be solving your own problem.
Love it. Love it. Junaid, this has been a great conversation, and I could tell that your audience loves you because we've been on for about an hour, and a lot of people from your side of the social media and from Facebook in here, and they have shown up. They have participated and commented, and I could tell that your audience loves you, which tells me that you are making a difference out there. And keep up the great work. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. And I look forward to continue our relationship and friendship, and go from there. Gang, if you're watching or
Absolutely.
listening, make sure you download or get access to Junaid's gift, the 3 dimensions of video mastery. The link is in the comments and descriptions of the show. And I'm sure you could find Junaid Ahmed on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and other places. Thank you for joining us. You've been watching and listening to the Simple Marketing Podcast. My name is Mustafa Hosseini, and we'll see you on our next episode.